While reading the Grammarly blog post Running Lisp in production, I came across this piece of code. Its goal is to send some log to Graylog. In this video, I want to make it work with a real instance of Graylog. So, first of all, what is Graylog? Graylog software captures, stores, and enables real-time search and log analysis. Log aggregation is a fundamental component of any non-trivial application. Thus, the piece of code presented on the blog could be quite useful. Moreover, for a beginner, it could be an interesting exercise to make it work. First of all, we need a running instance of Graylog. The easiest way is to leverage Docker, or to be more precise, Docker Compose, because Graylog is just a server, but it also needs MongoDB and something to actually do the queries. We will use OpenSearch. We can find a working Docker Compose.yaml on the GitHub page of Graylog. We just have to set up the .env file. I have already copied it in a local directory. We also need a .env file, and we have to populate two different variables. The first one is just a password in clear text, which has to be at least 16 characters. The other is the hash of the root password. We can see an example of how to create the hash using the command line just above. This command, since it uses -n, is specific for Linux. You can use printf instead of echo otherwise. We just have to copy the value and put it between quotes. Then we can start the server using Docker Compose app. After a moment, we can verify that the server has started using the browser. We got to localhost 9000. If everything worked correctly, we could log in using admin and the password we set in the .env. In my case, it was full. For the moment, everything is empty. Let's return to the piece of code. We can see that we will need at least 5 packages: chill.json to encode a JSON object to a string, Babel to encode the string as a byte array, salsa to compress data, local time to get the Unix timestamp, and finally usocket to send data over the network. In particular, the protocol is datagram, which means that we are using UDP. We can easily load all of them using QuickLisp. But if we look at the code more carefully, we see that there is something strange. There is a sharp curly braces symbol, which is not standard Lisp. This is a reader macro from the Rutil package, which allows a modern way of declaring dictionaries. Dictionaries are also available inside the standard Common Lisp. The problem is that the syntax to declare them is quite verbose. Rutils introduces a literal, which is quite similar to what you would write in a language like Clojure, which allows to declare a dictionary just using a symbol for the key with next to it the value. In this case, we are declaring a dictionary whose keys are, for example, version with value 1.0, facility, Lisp, and so on. We have an example on how to use it in the tutorial on the official GitHub page. This will be the basic code that we will need. Now we can actually start to write some Lisp code. We start by loading all the dependencies. Then we load the read macros. We can see the difference between our code and the one in the tutorial. In this case, he is moving to the RTL user package, while we are using that function from our own package. Then we need some variables. The reason for this value will be clear in just a moment. And finally, we compile the actual Graylog function. We still have to make Graylog accept data. From the documentation, we can see that we are ingesting data using the gelf format, because it's a JSON with facility, host, and so on, which are exactly the keys we are using in our code. Under inputs, under input, we add a new input, which is GELF, in particular using UDP. Launch new input, we give him a name. We can see that we are making in bind the value 0.0.0. We will connect on the localhost address using the port 12201, which is the same we had in the list. Let's start it. And now we can actually try to make Lisp send some log, simply calling the Graylog function. If everything worked, now we should see this log inside the Graylog dashboard. As we can see, it just appeared. In this video, we are shown another example of how Common Lisp is versatile and can interact with other web components. In this case, a server deployed in Docker Compose. It also served as an introduction to the Rutil package. Let me know in the comments if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe.